Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do something a little different than my typical videos because I think this is really important, and it's an organization that I'm getting more heavily involved in this year. And I want to take a moment to sit down and talk with the team at Saving Innocence. I was able to volunteer at their holiday event, and just learning so much about the organization and the great work they're doing, I feel really led to just get more involved this year and find ways that we can raise awareness about the work they're doing and how my community can get involved. So this video today is talking about what Saving Innocence does and what resources they provide to the kids they help.
My name is Dr. Eshell Williams. Saving Innocence is an advocacy organization that supports commercially and sexually exploited children. I'm their clinical supervisor working with non-clinical staff that provide advocacy and support to children that have been commercially and sexually exploited. I also do a lot of the training for our foster family agency and for staff that are newly coming into the organization.
My name is Christy, and I also work here at Saving Innocence. We also recruit and train foster families specifically for our kids, because what we found is the kids who've experienced CSEC, they need a safe place to land with a supportive family that can walk alongside their healing journey with them. And I get the privilege of supporting our foster families in the training and along their journey of foster parenting. I have also been a foster parent for the last 5 years myself. So I get to talk through real life experiences and talk them through situations where sometimes you just need to vent, sometimes you just need to chat, sometimes you just need support from somebody who's been there.
And previously on Instagram, I put up questions that you guys asked. I want to go through some of the questions we got, and we're going to just throw them out to you guys and you can answer. Why are kids in foster care vulnerable to trafficking?
What we found is that each child needs at least one caring adult to be in their life consistently so that they can stay away from things that help to make them vulnerable, right? So some of the vulnerability comes from not having that caring adult, people not checking up on them. There's a lot that happens within foster care where children are separated and joined with families on a regular basis, so the consistency is not necessarily there.
I would add to that the teenage years, just for any kid, is lonely. It's hard. Mm-hmm. You're trying to figure out identity. You're trying to figure out, where do I belong? Who am I? And when you don't have somebody in your corner saying, I see you, I see that you're really good at this, keep going, good job on that test, way to go, what do you need this weekend? When you don't have somebody who is consistently showing up for you, you look for that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of teenagers now are looking for that online, which can be a really vulnerable place for kids who don't have that at home and may not even have positive, healthy relationships modeled. So then they go seeking that out. And maybe when there's red flags popping up online that maybe myself or us would see, they may not see that because they haven't had that modeled at home. We need people to be sounding boards in our lives. And when we don't have those sounding boards, then we can just go on down that path without somebody to stop us.
What we know is that children are not usually running to something, they're running away from something. So is it their needs are not being met in a certain area, or they're being overshadowed by some of the other things, and they're looking to have a place where they actually shine. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, what the exploiters do and what they know to do immediately is to go to the place of vulnerability, and they begin to meet those needs. And as they meet those needs, then children feel loved, or that person feels loved, and they feel really fulfilled in that area, which makes that bond and connection. So when we're thinking about how are children bonding or not, that's one of the major things that they're looking for connection.
I know we talked about the foster care, but what are some warning signs to look out for?
A peer group is a really great thing that kids have, a buffer. Because you have friends who you chat with and say, hey, I met this person. I'm really excited about them. Mm-hmm. He told me this, they told me this. And you go to your friends and you chat about those things. If you have a friend who comes to you and says, hey, I met this boy online, you say, oh, tell me more about that. And they tell you about this boy that they met online, which one, meeting somebody online, that's an immediate red flag because we don't know who that person is. We don't know if they are who they say that they are. Mm-hmm. So how are we verifying that this is a safe person that we're sharing it with, that we're opening up our world and our heart to? And two is, what's the age difference there? Sometimes it can feel exciting if an older boy, when I was 14 and an older boy is looking at me, it's like, ooh, that's cool. Yeah, it validates you in a way. But that actually is a really big red flag where you have an older person who is looking at you, paying attention to you. Why are they paying attention to you? Why are they giving you this time? And if you have a friend whose boyfriend is buying them really flashy things, they're showing up in a really nice car, they show up with a really nice handbag, they're getting dropped off at school, and you're like, what's going on here? Especially when that age difference is really big. And some of the warning signs then continue to lead to the purchasing of things, the purchasing of items that maybe a kid doesn't have the money for. Why are these really nice gifts being showered on your friend or this kid?
Okay. I know you guys service Los Angeles County. Is Saving Innocence only in LA?
So our services are provided here in Los Angeles County. We also have partners that do some of the same work that we do that are not based in LA County, but for now, right? And we are here in Los Angeles County, but we endeavor to partner with individuals outside of the county. We've really partnered with people in other states because what we really want to have is a model that can be, duplicated, replicated in other areas because we're having so much success. We're in our 11th year of providing support and services to children that have experienced commercial and sexual exploitation. So as we do that, and as we are the pioneers there, then we do have some support to give other people, other programs to lend to other states.
Said I didn't think sex trafficking happens in LA. I think it happens in different countries. It seems so out of normal to be here, but can you share any statistics about how it actually does happen so often in LA County?
So there's 13 major hubs within the U.S. where commercial sexual exploitation really appears, and it's really big, right? One of those being Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. Most people think, oh, this is an international problem.
Right.
Or
you're being trafficked over the borders of leaving.
Absolutely. But what we know is that because any major city that has sports organizations that have things that are really big going on, how many organizations do we have? Basketball, football, hockey, all of these things that draw people to Los Angeles, right? The city of the beautiful, right? And we're California, everybody wants to be here. So as they come here on a regular basis, one of the things that they buy and they see, they go to see shows and to do these kind of sporting events, but they also buy children. And this is one of the things that we're learning is Los Angeles is a really, really big hub for that.
Because of entertainment too. What are some of the biggest needs of the kids you guys work with?
Really, at the end of the day, need the same thing as any other kid. They need somebody to show up. They need consistency. They need somebody to say, hey, I see you. To say, hey, what do you want to do? What are you good at? What makes you excited? And at the end of the day, they just need consistent, caring adults. And that's what our foster care arm is really passionate about, is seeking out adults who are willing to show up and be those people, be that safe place for them to land, to rest and regroup and get back to school or their GED or whatever it is that they want to accomplish, get their driver's license.
Yeah.
They need a safe place to regroup.
What are the ages that you typically help? What is the youngest you see and what is the oldest?
Our youngest kiddo, she was 8.
Oh my God.
There's what we call familial trafficking. These are the things that kind of flies under the radar, where it may be some generational things going on, that mom was involved in a life, or there's a need for money. If we look in some of our populations that don't have means, so then it is a trade for means, a trade for things that just even getting a family's basic needs met, and somebody says, let me have her.
Oh my gosh.
In order to fulfill some of those things. So what we know is our contracts and the children that we've seen usually are anywhere from 12 to 18, but we also help individuals that are called transition age youth. So these are children that are in transitional ages 18 to 24. But we know all people, all children need support.
Right.
So we are willing to help even the youngest child because we know that they need support. So then that lends us to helping families, because it's not only the child that's involved.
Right.
The families are also involved in not having their needs met. So poverty is one of the biggest impactful signs and situations that happen. When you live in poverty, you're
kind of desperate to get out, and
not only to get out, just day to day.
Right, like eat, feel safe at night. And
absolutely.
We were talking a little bit about the red flags, and if, let's say, a teen is noticing that maybe their friend doesn't have basic needs or something that just doesn't sit right. Sometimes our intuition is even a good sense of like something feels off. What about the language that is really important with the work you guys do at Saving Innocence, that's important with how we treat the kids and how we talk about it, and maybe using the correct terms?
What we know is language binds a culture. we want to know and name things, right? So you're given your birth name, you have your first name and last name, and there's a language to go with every arena that you're in. If you're talking mathematics, then you're talking about addition and subtraction, but here we're talking about an impactful situation on a child. So when you see the letter CSEC, commercial sexual exploitation of children, and we name that and we talk about it in a way that makes it, I want to say normal, but that doesn't stigmatize a person that's been impacted by the things that these children have had to experience. There's articles that I've had the privilege of writing here at Saving Innocence with some of our colleagues, and what we want to do is destigmatize it. And there's like a caption, there's no such thing as a child prostitute.
Right.
Because there's
they
not.
Choose.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. They cannot consent to the things that are happening to them. So we want to change the language as legislation has changed, because children, this was criminalized before. Children were being prosecuted for things that they had no control over.
Yeah.
And now what we know is that it's not child prostitution, which was said before. It's not child prostitution, it's exploitation.
Yeah.
It's child abuse.
Right.
So as we introduce the correct language and the terms, one of the things you'll hear all the time, people say child pornography. It's not child pornography. Really what it is child abuse imagery. So if we put the correct terms to the correct things that are happening, or to the things that are happening, then we shine a light on the fact that a child cannot consent.
Right.
They are taken, outside of their own will, and to do an act that is absolutely traumatic and impactful on them and their families.
And being used for entertainment.
Absolutely. So we have to change that language, because we really want it to be true to what's happening, and any child that's being exploited is child abuse. What happens when children grow up? If they've been exploited from a young age, and they've been told and brainwashed over and over, you only have this to offer.
Yeah.
You only have this to offer. You can only do this kind of work. There was a video that said something about, this is the kind of work that girls do who can't be nurses and doctors. They can't do this and this. That's part of the brainwash.
Yeah.
So if you feel like this is the only thing you can do, and the years go by,
you're not going to switch that off right at 18, be like, hey, now I'm going to go.
Right. So what we see is a lot of adults where the term is now changed to sex work versus prostitution, because it's easier on the ears, right? It's easier for us to deal with. A lot of those women and men have been exploited. So imagine if you went back and asked, when did this start? It's exploitation, and it started in childhood, and now because you believe what has been going on, you've been doing it for however many years, then now you're just an adult doing the exact same thing, but the roots of it came from
that makes
childhood.
So much sense.
Another piece of language that's really important to address is when referring to kids who are in foster care or children who are impacted by foster care. We hear the words foster kid, foster child, and what we've learned, what we all know, is none of us want to walk around our life with a label slapped on us.
Right.
And the same with these kids. They don't want to be labeled a foster kid. They want to be a kid. And they are a kid. Foster care happens to be a part of their story.
Just like no one's walking around saying, I'm an IVF kid, or I'm an accident kid.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of different ways that all of us are up here.
And should that child choose to have that, share that part of their story, that's theirs to share.
Right.
It's not mine to say, this child is this child is that.
Right.
They're a child, they're a kid, they're a teenager. They have a name. So when we're talking about foster care, we can talk about foster care as a system, but we don't want to be directing foster kids or foster children. There are kids who are in foster care or children who are impacted by foster care.
Love that.
And even with the families that take care, like you're a foster parent or a resource parent, right?
Yes.
But it's even still, you're a person first.
Yes.
And before a foster parent, and you have the transferable skills to work with children that have been impacted by trauma. And you do that in a family, because what we know is it's not the home that heals or hurts the child, but it's the family that lives there that does. So no more foster homes, we're talking foster families, because this child needs that one person, that one connection, and when they're with you, that is exactly who you are and exactly what you do with and for them every day.
Yeah.
What are some signs of exploitation that teens or parents can even look out for, whether it's their friends or people they know?
So I think some of the signs that we really want to look out for are changes, sudden changes in mood and behavior. The child is showing up with things that they either family can't afford, or they can't afford, and they don't have a really good story, or they make up some elaborate story about where it came from. So those are the things where you could just say, I put my eyes on what was happening in the child's life. They become withdrawn in some areas. They got a new boyfriend, or they got a few different boyfriends. Maybe they start to dress a little bit different, or the conversation is a little different. They listen to some music that maybe not characteristic of who they are. So we're looking for just subtle changes in behavior and in actions and in attitude, because a lot of it is the carrying of an attitude that just says, I'm being hurt, but I can't say anything. And some people will say, especially with teen girls, right? Oh, it's puberty.
Right.
And it's so much more than that. Because puberty takes us through something, as we all know, right? You get a little bump here and all that stuff, but it's way more than that in the change and the shift that you're going to see. If a child is being hurt, you're going to see them maybe with physical bruises, or just the certain attitude shift. And now they don't want to talk to anybody, and even a friend, right? So they go to a friend and disclose that, something is happening, or we think about domestic violence and things like that among the teen population is really heavy. So as we think about and see those subtle changes, or even the really big changes that happen, there's a lot of people that don't want to say anything. And friends think, I'm being a good friend if I don't say anything.
If you are concerned about somebody that you love, that you see warning signs in, reach out. If you're a teenager, reach out to somebody that you trust. Reach out to an adult that you trust. If you're seeing abuse or exploitation happening, then you can leave the number for CPS and you can report anonymously if you're not a mandated reporter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that my community lives all over, so if you guys are based in LA, there's ways you can get involved. And if you're not, I would love to share ways that we can get involved wherever they live.
Financial need is always a big one, because we need resources in order to service the kids that we get to advocate for. You can do that online at savinginnocence.org. And there's many ways you can do that. We are also always looking for gift cards, and those go directly to the kids, so we can take them grocery shopping when they get their first new place. So we can take them out to Starbucks and talk about their future planning. So we can do things like that and walk alongside with them. We're always looking for things like that. We are also looking for safe and supportive families who want to say yes to opening up their family and their home for these kiddos. There's a lot of misconceptions about being a foster parent. You can be a single foster parent. You don't have to own your own home. You just need the space for the child and the space in your heart and your family. And our team does a really good job of walking alongside of families and helping them with the resources that they need when it's learning how to parent our kids, how to show up for a child who's experienced trauma.
One of the major misconceptions is that children that have experienced commercial sexual exploitation either have needs that are greater than what people can provide, or that people just don't know what to think about them, and there's a negative connotation, and they're seeing through what happened to them versus who they actually are. So we have to remember that they're children. And this child has experienced some not great things in their life, really some horrible things. And they still are just children that need our support, just like any other child. In terms of the foster caring piece, one of the major is that people that are going to do the work or become foster parents have to know how to do it, and they got to come ready. What we are asking is that you got to come willing, right? You got to come willing to do the work, to sit in an environment with us and be trained, because there's a training piece, there's a support piece, and there's a development piece. So we help to develop parents, individuals that are going to be amazing resources to children. So as we help to develop them, you don't have to have it all together. Right. You don't have to have, everything that you absolutely need and go, okay, I'm ready. No, let's get ready together. Absolutely. And we educate about certain things. And if you have questions about your family, about background, about all of that stuff, then we help to do that together as a team, because we endeavor to partner with individuals as members of a functional team in child protection. So as we do that, we want people to come willing. We can provide the resources. Right. We can provide some of the skills, but we have ability, resources, willingness.
would love to know what your guys' day look like on a day-to-day, and how
Sure.
do you guys get called?
One of the ways is we have contracts with Los Angeles County, and we have what is called a first responder protocol. That is when a child is identified by the police or other means, then we are deployed within 90 minutes alongside a Department of Children and Family Services social worker. And we meet the kid or the youth, and we meet them there so that we can become an ally. So there's all of these things happening to them, about them, but we are actually there for them. So as we think about partnering with a child that might be scared because of the situation that they've just encountered, as well as the one that they're in. So what we come alongside is we send out an advocate, and that advocate brings a backpack. And in that backpack there are supplies. So that's also another way to help, is just thinking about what do children need, or what does a person need if they are in a not safe or not great situation. So we provide clothes, there's a snack there. Every backpack has a teddy bear, because what we need to know and remember at all times is these are children. And you don't know how much the holding on to that stuff you might mean to them just in that moment. So we want to make sure that we provide not only some of those physical and those tangible and, just kind of the clothing items, some hygiene products. So if anyone's out there and you want to donate hygiene products, those things are of immediate use and need to us every single day. So as we encounter the child, we sit with them through medical exams, through interviewing processes by law enforcement, so that we can get as much information about their trafficking situation, the trafficker that we possibly can, so that we can use that in an effort to stop the violence that's being perpetrated against them. We also have the ability to, and we do through the first responder protocol, check in with the youth the next day. And when we check in with them the next day, what we offer are supportive services that can last for about a year. The services can always last longer, because we've definitely been in contact and providing support to children and youth that longer than a year. But as it's slated is, we go in the first kind of 3 months, 5 months, we are with that youth every week. And making sure that that they're still safe. We do a safety plan with them. We talk about goals and support, provide some of those tangible needs. Like we're talking gift cards and what is it that they need in order to give it a good goal. And as we plan with them, do they need their vital documents? Do they want to get back in school? How do we create happy, whole, healthy, safe environments and individuals in order to partner with them? So as we talked about that one adult that is safe, we become that one adult.
Thank you guys, Christy and Michelle, so much for sitting down with me. That was just hugely helpful, and I hope that shines a light more on what Saving Innocence does. If you or anyone you know is struggling with maybe seeing some of these red flags or seeing a person that could be hurt, please use these resources below. I'm going to link them all in the description. And there will be more ways that we can get involved with Saving Innocence. But if you're led or you're in a position to donate, that would be so amazing.
Well, just want to thank you for shining a bright light on the impact that children are facing every single day, and through exploitation, through trafficking, and the need for fostering. If helping means that you just go and share this link and let someone else know about the video and what was said here, you got some new information and you want to pass that on, we can all help to end commercial sexual exploitation one person at a time by using the strength-based language and calling exploitation and trafficking what it is: child abuse.